Hello, my friends. Welcome back to English Conversation. I'm Tony. This is the place where we learn English in a natural, simple, and practical way. On this channel, we don't just study rules. We learn how to think in English, how to understand real conversations, and how to build confidence when speaking. Today, I want to talk about something personal. I want to talk about 5 things I wish I knew when I started learning a language. When I first started learning Spanish, I made many mistakes. Some mistakes were small, but some mistakes slowed my progress for months. If someone had told me these 5 things earlier, I would have saved a lot of time and frustration. So today, I want to share them with you. These are 5 lessons I learned while studying Spanish that can help you learn English faster and more naturally. Are you ready? Let's begin. All right, the first thing I wish I knew is this. You don't need to understand everything. When I started learning Spanish, I believed something that many learners believe. I believed that I had to understand every single word. If I listened to a conversation and did not understand some words, I stopped the audio. Then I opened a dictionary. Then I looked up the words. This sounds like a good learning method, but in reality, it slowed me down. Why? Well, because in real life, we never understand every single word. Even in your native language, sometimes you may miss a word. Sometimes people speak quickly. Sometimes you hear new expressions, but you still understand. The main idea, language learning works the same way. Your brain learns best when it focuses on meaning, not on every small detail. For example, imagine you hear this sentence. I grabbed a quick bite before the meeting. I grab a quick bite before the meeting. Maybe you do not know the expression to grab a bite, but from a situation, you can guess the meaning. Maybe the person ate something quickly. Your brain is learning from context. Context means the situation around the sentence. So, one important lesson is this. Do not stop every time you hear a new word. Let your brain listen, guess, and adapt. Over time, many words become familiar naturally. When I stopped trying to understand every word in Spanish, something surprising happened. My listening improved much faster. Okay, now let's move on to the second lesson. Consistency is more important than intensity. When people start learning a language, they often feel very motivated. Motivated means excited and ready to work. They study for 3 hours in a single day. They watch many videos. They memorize many words. But the next day, they feel tired. Then they stop studying for a week. This is a very common pattern. I did exactly the same thing when I started Spanish. Some days I studied a lot, but other days I did nothing. But language learning does not work well this way. Your brain needs regular contact with the language. Think about it like exercise. If you go to the gym for 5 hours one day, but then you do nothing for 2 weeks, your body will not improve much. But if you exercise a little every day, your body becomes stronger. Language learning is very similar. 20 minutes every day is much more powerful than 3 hours once a week. Even 10 minutes can be useful. You can listen to a short podcast. You can review a few sentences, or you can practice shadowing. When I finally started practicing Spanish every day, even for a short time, my progress became much faster. Consistency changed everything. Okay, now let's talk about the third lesson. Speaking early is not as scary as it feels. When many learners start studying a language, they feel nervous about speaking. They're worried and afraid. They think my grammar is not perfect. My pronunciation is terrible. I will make mistakes. I felt exactly like this. So, they wait. They wait until they feel ready. But here is the truth. No one ever feels completely ready. Language learning is a skill, and skills improve with practice. Think about learning to play the piano. At the beginning, your hands move slowly. You make mistakes. You stop and start again. But with practice, your hand become more comfortable. Speaking a language is exactly the same. When I started Spanish, I waited too, long before speaking. I wish I hadn't. I listened and studied for months. But when I finally spoke to native speakers, I realized something important. People were patient with me. They did not expect perfect grammar. They simply wanted communication. Even with simple sentences, you can communicate. For example, I want coffee. Where is the bus? I don't understand. These simple sentences are powerful, so do not wait. For perfection, start speaking earlier than you think. You're ready. Mistakes are part of learning. Okay, now let's move to the fourth lesson. Vocabulary is more useful when learned. In sentences, when I started learning Spanish, I tried to memorize long lists of words. I wrote words in a notebook, word after word. But something strange happened. The next week, I forgot many of them. Why? Because single words are difficult for the brain to remember. Sentences are easier. Sentences give context. They show how a word is used. Even better, sentences help you learn grammar naturally. You see how words connect together. You see common patterns. For example, I'm looking for the station. I'm looking for my keys. I'm looking for a restaurant. Your brain starts to see patterns. It starts to notice patterns. So instead of memorizing long vocabulary lists, try collecting and memorizing useful sentences. Write them down, repeat them, say them out loud, change them. This method helped me remember Spanish much more effectively. All right, now we come to the fifth and final lesson. Your environment matters more than you think. Environment means the things around you, the language you hear, the content you watch, the sound you listen to every day. When I first studied Spanish, my environment was still mostly English. My phone was in English. My music was in English. My videos were all in English. Spanish only appeared when I opened a textbook, but languages grow faster when they become part of your daily life. For example, you can change your phone language. You can listen to podcasts. While walking, you can watch simple videos in English. You can follow social media accounts in that language. These small changes create an immersion environment. All right, so today we talked about 5 important lessons from my language learning journey. The first lesson was, you do not need to understand every word. The second lesson was consistency is more important and powerful than intensity. The third lesson was start speaking earlier than you think. The fourth lesson was learn vocabulary through sentences, not isolated words. And the final lesson was create a language environment around you. These lessons made a big difference in my Spanish learning, and they can help you build stronger English habits too. Language learning is not a race. It is a journey of small steps, daily practice, and curiosity. If you stay consistent, your brain will adapt, your listening will improve, your confidence will grow, and one day you will suddenly realize something amazing. You're thinking in a language. Thank you so much for listening to another episode of English Conversation. Remember, every day you listen, every sentence you repeat brings you one step closer to fluency. Bye for now. The end.